What's up, everybody? It's Geoff Grammer with the Albuquerque Journal, and I am joined by Sean Reider, and this is the Albuquerque Journal Sports Live, for lack of a better name for the show so far. And we just got done with the weekly Jason Eck press conference, and we are now going to talk. We're going to put a bow on Idaho State's win Saturday. We are going to preview this week's game at UCLA, and we're doing so from the Todium Center. And what is this called? Is this the End Zone Club up here?
I believe it is the End Zone Club, yes.
It's where the weekly presser is, and we were looking out at University Stadium, and the countdown to UCLA is 3 days, 6 hours, 20 minutes, and 1 second. So there you go. You're up to speed. Sean, first of all, how's it going, man?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Big weekend for me.
Big weekend for you?
Yeah, I mean, a weekend full of celebration. Big win for the Alamogordo Tigers on Friday night, and that's pretty much carried over really till today. Got to start looking ahead, though. Big game at Piedra Vista this week in Farmington for my Tigers, and that's Friday night.
You did not ask Jason Eck for the scouting report on Piedra Vista. Piedra Vista?
Either work, and I will tell you that is correct. I did not. So, all right, man. Let's start with the big news from the press conference today. Did you take away anything that was big? And then let's put a bow on Idaho State before we really dive into UCLA.
Yeah, let's put the bow on Idaho State. The tenor of this press conference is kind of similar to the post game in the sense that, hey, happy to get a win, happy to show the kind of guts necessary to get said win, but there's stuff they got to improve on. I kind of tweeted out in particular after the we talked about on the show as well, after the last 2-minute drive where they gave up 2 sacks and all that. X said there was really 3 plays where they had true protection issues in the Idaho State game, and but it was really just limited to that. And you still can't have those 3 plays, like especially in the situations that those plays did occur. But no, we talked a little bit about also a topic on our Saturday post game show. Kind of the lack of explosive plays, in the receiving game among the receivers and all that. That's something he mentioned after the game. And he said, look, today he said, we don't want to force that, because if you force that, you're probably not going to get much of anywhere. We do have some unique stuff. We can be creative, right? We do have running backs like Devon Banks, had that 55-yard reception on Saturday against Idaho State. And then, obviously Dorian Thomas is having a really nice season so far. He's kind of, really right now, I think you can pretty much say he might be the best statistically at this point. He is the best tight end of the Mountain West, just in terms of everything he's doing. So yeah, some of those issues he said, we still got to clean up, but no, they're looking forward to the challenge of going to the Rose Bowl and playing UCLA.
All right, I will ask you this: the big takeaway that we talked about 3 topics primarily. We talked about a few other things. It was an hour and 42 minute post game show.
It was basically 3 topics, though.
But it's 3 primary topics. We won't get into the third down song, although I still stand by my singing of "I'm Too Sexy" and La Bamba being the best third down songs. The other thing, though, we talked about was kind of was it a vanilla offense? Was it just a boring offense?
You asked a good question about this in terms of the run game. Did you want a surprise response?
I don't know if you're surprised by that. Or, basically, what I asked him was, look, there were 40 rushing plays. There were 21 passing plays. Before the game, he mentioned to Robert Portnoy in the pregame that Idaho State had given up 300 yards rushing each of their first 2 games, and he wanted to be in that realm. Was this an overemphasis of trying to get to that magic number of 300? Was it because of Michigan, where the run game didn't get going, that he really overemphasized the run game? Or is 2-to-1 run to pass kind of what they're going to do? His answer was probably not 2/3, but run game is always going to be their priority.
Yeah, no, and why wouldn't it be? With the backs that they have and all that, and then, the way... just the things that they can do with those guys, Scott Humphrey, Devon Banks, and DJ McKinney, Deshaun Buchanan, like all of that. Yes, that's good stuff right there too. But yeah, I kind of touched on it earlier too, and I think we have a comment here kind of in support of it. I think you do need to get something going in the pass game, something reliable over the next couple weeks. And I don't know how much you can build that throughout the season, frankly. I think you need to kind of try and get something in check there in terms of with the receivers. I did ask today, I think Michael Buckley was only the one receiver. It was just the one receiver during fall camp that didn't really deal with any injury of any sort. or at least I should say going into the season. Everybody else, Keegan Johnson, Sean Miller, Cater Jope, who still hasn't played this season, Isaiah Blair, they all dealt with stuff. And I asked, is that a chemistry thing? You don't have those guys during fall camp in those situations? And he said, I think it's a little bit of that, but yeah.
All right, we now have joining us another topic from the show. Let me get Adam's quote off there.
Why would you not tell your co-host this is happening? Okay.
Let's see if I got his mic on.
Can you hear me?
Lobo's joining us. Fernando, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We cannot hear you, and I swear this is not Geoff Grammer doing it. I can't hear your mic just yet. Let me
hold on.
Yeah.
Let me see.
All right. When I get Fernando's mic working, we may have to reconnect here on the Wi-Fi with Fern coming. But one of the topics, obviously, on the show Saturday was
a big topic.
Was the third down song, but the game day experience in general. And so that's why Fern is joining us. Fern is obviously nice enough to join us and is going to reconnect here in just a moment. That's why we have the little 2 square set up with the square waiting to fill here. I will give you this real quick. Juan Reza is asking, is Keegan Johnson healthy?
I didn't ask that question today. That's my bad. But I would expect him to play this week.
You expect him to play this week?
I would expect him to play this week.
All right, let's see here. Now we got Fern joining us. Fern, can you hear us?
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Uh-oh, Fern is frozen now.
Fern is sideways. He's upside down.
I don't know what's going on, if that's our Wi-Fi or what's going on here.
I don't know. Oh, you're pressing buttons.
I'm pressing buttons.
Oh, no.
Got another one here for you, Sean. Also regarding the whole vanilla thing, and that's what the offense that we were talking about.
This is a really good point.
Yeah, one good thing to point out is that they do a hell of a job making their offense all look the same. I'm actually a big fan of that. You know, the Rams did that for a long time where you make everything out of the exact same formation.
Yep.
And then you don't have a good scouting report pre-snap. You know, you scouting reports, you don't have a good pre-snap read defensively if you make everything look exactly the same.
No, this is a really good point. And I think just about every and it's only been 2, you know, so Sharon Moore and then and Cody Hawkins, way more Cody Hawkins because he was asked about New Mexico more. They mentioned the same thing. They do a really good job at this. And that is, I mean, you know, that is a really good point to think about that.
All right. So I'm being told, Fern, that the listeners can hear you fine. And apparently that is us that cannot hear you. Why would we be able to? That would be weird, right?
Crazy.
That's good. Hello, listeners.
All right. So what I'm going to have to do, though, is take this headset off.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to have to change the speaker setting over here. You guys love this. Is good radio.
This is good stuff right
Getting
here.
The third
this is
guest
great.
On with the headsets is great. All right. Let's see if we can hear Fern now. Fern, are you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, this whole setup.
There's a good comment in the chat about this right now. Richie, Comedy Gold, gentlemen, Comedy Gold. It is Comedy Gold. It is great production value.
I'm telling you guys, I finally get
we
Sean's
really know
fixed,
what we're doing.
And apparently, the best thing I can do though is actually turn these mics off, and we have to go through the speaker again of the computer to hear the third guest.
Okay, so we taking them off?
I think so, man. So they can hear him, but we can't is the problem. I'm getting text messages that everybody can hear you, Fern, and we cannot, and that makes for such a great show. So what I'm going to do here is actually pull up the show right here. Sean, can you tell me this? Why, if there are 3 people in the show, will Fern's camera not even come on now? Fern, I appreciate you for putting up with this here.
Anytime, Phyllis.
All right. So why don't you carry this while I try and do one more?
Desert Lobo 72, bring an IT guy with you next time. It seems like we are in the market for a dedicated IT professional to help us produce this show. If you are a dedicated IT professional who would be willing to work for little cost or potentially completely free, please reach out to Reider at ABQ Journal or ggrammar@abqjournal.com. We are very interested in making that happen.
Yeah, but now he's sideways too.
He's been sideways.
Yeah, I don't. There's nothing about what's going on here that explains.
Adam Garcia in the comments, all caps, don't panic, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Are we panicking? You ready to panic? I might panic.
All right, why don't you talk about UCLA first?
Yeah, UCLA. Let's get into the Bruins a little bit. They are 0-2. They got the brakes beat off them by Utah in the season opener at the Rose Bowl. Utah looked really good in that game, and UCLA did not. And then they lost to UNLV last week at Allegiant. I don't know if I have the number correct, but I believe UNLV opened with a 23-0 lead and ended up winning that game 30-23, or 23-3. Getting the numbers crossed, my bad. Probably should have had a little bit more prep on that, but it's messy over there right now, and this is not what some people around the program kind of expected. I did talk with a UCLA beat writer this morning, and he said, I thought this was going to go better, honestly, but we also have media access restricted. We weren't able to watch a whole lot. The one big player, you probably already know him, the one key guy, Nico Iamaleava, transferred in from Tennessee. It wasn't a big story at all this summer. Nobody really talked about that whole deal. It wasn't a big deal at all. I actually think Nico's been pretty good. Like, I have been using him as a punching bag for this team. I think he's been pretty good. He just doesn't have a ton to work with, frankly. There's been some issues in the offensive line. They have struggled to really effectively run the ball, and part of that, Jason Eck mentioned that early in the press conference day, part of it, the issues running the ball is that they are not starting first halves well offensively, so they're always kind of playing from behind, so they're going to have to throw it more in that situation. I did kind of like the effort in the second half against UNLV to get things going there and really kind of threaten UNLV, I should say. But this is as clear of a it's me now.
Yeah,
we got double
2 times. We're gonna double up on Sean.
We're doubled up. No, this is a very clear must win for UCLA in terms of people keeping their jobs, and this is because they spent a lot of money on this roster, and there was legitimate optimism, not that they could win the Big Ten, but that they could be at a level higher than they were last year. And last year was kind of impressive. I mean, I thought they battled really hard down the stretch to finish 5-7. I mean, they just missed out on a bowl, and they had a brutal open to the schedule last year. Defensively, I think they lost. I don't think I know. They lost all 11 of their primary starters on that side of the ball from last year, and you're kind of really seeing that. They do have a couple defensive tackles that I do like. They have one really good safety. I should probably pull his name up. One safety that I've really liked through the 2 games as well. But it's just been kind of a messy operation, similar to this show right now in terms of making that all happen. But, yeah, I think they opened, from what I saw, circa as 14-point favorites over New Mexico. Has that gone down or gone up?
I haven't seen
Okay.
your setting real quick so we can actually hear.
Grammar is trying to change the speaker setting. I don't know if you guys can hear him. Comment just made me laugh there. But no, this is going to be a test for both teams. Absolutely. UNM is still. This is not because UCLA is, so untalented or whatever. It's just not a very clean operation on both sides of the ball at this point. I do think Iamaleava is going to find a way to give them some problems. I think he's been pretty good on the run. He is their leading rusher, which is kind of an indictment on the rest of the running game at this point. Eck talked a little bit about him today and some of the issues he provides. He says he's very clean, in terms of short yard stuff, he's pretty dangerous. Mic's off, all ambient now. Is my mic
back
off?
on now? But this is what it's telling me on Fern's computer. Although everyone can hear him but us, when I click on Fern's microphone, tell me, does that message show up on your screen that says, I cannot unmute your guest?
Yeah, no.
Fern, I apologize.
Mike is back on.
We can hear each other now, but we can't hear Fern still. All right, I'm going to... Hey, Fern... So 17,600 fans showed up to the stadium on Saturday.
Yeah,
and
17,639 fans.
So I'll say this, and this is what Fern's trying so hard to actually get to you guys to talk about.
If only there was a show he could go on.
I know. If only there was an outlet to some fans. The one big feedback that I have received so far is the parking. I heard a couple people over the weekend, heard somebody today mention that parking was sort of the only thing so far that really stood out. You know, some people are still going to have an issue with this
in a bad way.
In a bad way, yeah. That there were some issues with parking. But look, there was an awful lot of change, and we will see if we can hear Fern this time. I am going to add Fern to the stage, and there's no guarantee that we're going to be able to hear him because apparently I don't know what I'm doing. The speakers don't seem to work.
You sideways again.
Like, this is the main computer, and he's not even on mine. Fern, I love you, and you're sideways.
Yeah. And you just said I love you.
I love you, Fern, for trying to put up with us here, and I don't even know what the heck is going on. So I'm going to try one last thing. Stay right there, Fern.
He's not frozen on mine. Yeah. To fill the noise, I've heard a lot of good things. To fill the silence, I've heard a lot of good things about from people that went to Saturday's game as well. In terms of just the overall experience, I didn't hear a lot from the parking element, frankly, on my end at the very least. I've heard a lot of good things. The fan experience and some of the new additions. I can't hear myself now.
Yeah, you can take those off. All right. My speaker is on. We are now working through the laptop.
I got you.
All right, Fern, can you hear me?
I can.
Can
You
you
hear
turn
me?
on? Yes, Fern, I hear you. Everybody else has already heard you. I appreciate you putting up with, I blame this all on Sean, although none of it is Sean's fault. This is all me. So, Fern, how was Saturday?
It was good. I think I'm sideways here. Am I upside? I look,
You are, but I don't know. Like, I don't even control that.
Am I talking into your mic?
You're talking into my computer.
Okay. Well,
So
all right. We'll live with it this way. No, it was good. I appreciate you having me on. It was really exciting to have, to see our fans show up, and I was walking around, try to spend as much time as I could outside, and I thought Louis Lane was really good. It felt like a college football environment. I saw folks coming in, tailgating, people showing up at Louis Lane, and the kids were having fun, and the music was going, and all that. So I was really happy. Obviously, we announced a crowd of just under 18,000, and that was, I think, the best for an opening game since 2018. And so, I'll be very clear, we're not where we want to be. There's a lot of things we need to do to get better, to improve. And I've said it from day one, and I'll keep saying it. Our top priority is to ensure our fans have a great experience. And I think I checked this morning, we've got over 400 responses to our survey that we sent out, and people are being honest, both about things that we did well and things we have to improve upon. And we're not going to be perfect. We're going to strive for excellence, and we're going to try to do things differently. And if it doesn't work, we want to hear about it, and we want to look for ways to continue to make Lobo football, an experience that people want to join. And so, happy to be on, and sorry that it took so long, but I've got about 10 minutes or so. So happy to.
Yeah. I messed this up, and Fern's window was cut into by IT problems that I'll blame on Sean. Fern, the one consistent feedback. Look, you'll have some solo kind of complaints here or there. I did hear one about too much music. I only heard one person say that. One thing I've heard multiple, though, is some parking issues. And we do have one comment here about tailgating was kind of a problem. They wanted people, the way they wanted people to park. I will add that Richie, who had that comment, said, but once we got inside, everything was fun. The atmosphere is fun. What has been your feedback on parking specifically?
Yeah, I think we've got work to do. I'll be honest. I think, we've, what I learned this was the first time I experienced a football game at UNM. And so I intentionally spent a lot of time out on the streets and trying to understand our traffic flow and traffic patterns. It's something that, I did a lot of at Texas and had experience dealing with some challenges there. And, what I realized is we have some infrastructure problems that are going to, require some higher level of engagement from some different groups to make better. But obviously, look, Stadium East is a big surface lot, one that's known for tailgating. And I walked through there and wow, what an awesome experience. I mean, the grill's going, people are playing cornhole, throwing football. I mean, that's exactly what college football is about. And I think what you saw is, and we consulted with some folks that were experts in the area, is, we have not to get too in the weeds, but we have a problem with lines of cars that build up on ACC just because we have multiple lots that need to use ACC for their ingress and their entry. And so the attempt was to try to take cars off of ACC so we could mitigate some of the challenges that we see with cars backing up. And you saw sort of a horseshoe thing. And the other dynamic that we have to be mindful of is we sell into that lot. And if we don't have a mechanism to understand when the lot is full, we could run into a situation where we're having to close a lot that still has spots that are open. And so, look, it's an ebb and flow. I've received positive feedback. I've received negative feedback. And someone said something to me or sent me a note that said, hey, I just want to make sure that this doesn't fall on deaf ears. I can tell you that that's not the case. In fact, I've got to run to a meeting here in a couple of minutes, and I've got my whole staff, and we're going through all the survey results. And we're going to take it through with a fine-tooth comb, and we're going to try every single week to get better. I learned a lot on Saturday. But at the end of the day, I went home happy, proud to be a Lobo. Our fans showed up. They were loud when we needed them the most. And look, we got a great opportunity ahead of us over the next 3 weeks. I think we got a great chance to go into an iconic venue in the Rose Bowl and hopefully perform well. And then, it's the rival. It's the rivalry week. And I think for us, NMSU's playing well. They're 2-0, and they got a big game this weekend against La Tech. And I think if we keep playing well and NMSU does, I think that might be one of the biggest games we've had here in a long time. And for us to see University Stadium packed and full and rocking for a rivalry game, we got to be firing on all cylinders. So we're going to use these next 17 days to hone in, take the feedback that we got from Saturday and try to continue to improve our operation. So I appreciate all that people have shared with us, and I ask that they continue to do so.
I'll let you sign off with this because I know you got to run. Between now and the New Mexico State game, if there's one thing that you would sort of, I mean, the easy thing to ask of fans is try and get here early. I got to the game pretty late on Saturday because I'm not covering the game, but so I noticed that the walk-up crowd is still pretty big. People probably need to start making their way to the stadium a little bit earlier, especially for that game. Is there any incentive to get into the stadium earlier that maybe is an option down the road?
Yeah, we've got some ideas that we're kicking around, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about is just the execution of ideas here in a few minutes is, I think for us, we may look at opening our gates a little bit earlier than we have. We do 90 minutes. We might look at doing it 2 hours before. But I think for us, once you get on campus and you get in the lot, we've improved our metal detectors, and we had some issues with scanning tickets this weekend. Honestly, a lot of that has to do with the fact that when it's sunny out, the glare on the screens makes it hard to scan.
And to be clear, that doesn't affect the number of announced attendance because it's tickets that were sold. That's
right. Yeah. And so the other thing too we're looking at is, although we do have a lot of surface lots in the proximity here, if we have 30,000 folks that show up, we don't have the capacity to hold that amount of cars just in this area. And so what we're looking at are some additional park and ride options that will be at a low price point at maybe a lot or two that's a bit off campus. And that way we can have some shuttles that can get people in and get them there early, and they can go tailgate, do whatever else they want. And so we're going to uncover every stone, and we're going to try to make it, an environment where folks want to show up early, be part of the experience, and then get their butts in the university stadium and cheer their tails off for the Lobos.
All right. My last pitch is free beer an hour before game time. Free beer.
Hey, if you finish up, come over and you can join our meeting and throw all the good ideas you have against the wall.
Yeah, I'll be in charge of the IT at the meeting. Fern, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, fellas. Go Lobos. Appreciate it.
Fernando Lobo. How about that? It's me and you now, Sean.
I know it's me and you. I don't know what mic I'm supposed to talk to.
Just keep talking here. I'm going to try and get these mics back going again.
All right. I can hear myself. I think other people can hear me too. Got to give credit to Fern. We always knew he was a football guy.
After the game,
It was.
that was not your standard, AD coming in. Great job, guys. You did the university proud. That was a football guy's speech. Credit to Fern there. Good stuff. We like to see that.
I'll even pull it up here and show you guys what we're talking about. But basically, he's in the locker room and he's doing it up just like a football coach would. And eyes up here. He's got the ball.
Eyes up here was what caught my attention immediately. That's coaching 101 right there.
That's football guy. And Jason X first win. Congratulations to him. Garnett Stokes was there and made sure to also point out this was Fernando Lobo's first win as certainly at home. And as a Lobo football athletic director, he did have some basketball wins and some other sports, but this was his first win as an athletic director as well. So there you go. Fern, thank you for putting up with us. Fans, all you guys watching, thank you for putting up with us.
Yeah, really.
I will be troubleshooting.
Would you thank your co-host for putting up with the surprise guests that you didn't clear your co-host into?
Nah.
Okay.
I will say I will be troubleshooting the Zoom PodTrack P4 microphone setup thing here that makes these work, but makes us not hear our guests. Because that is something I'm going to have to figure out here pretty soon for another project coming up.
No, pretty soon actually.
So anyway, let's get back to some football.
Let's talk ball, man.
That's
what we're here for.
One other quick thing on the Fern thing. Fern didn't have to come on. Fern, there was an open invitation to Fern. Fern did just actually text me once we started the show. Said, "Hey, I got 15 minutes before my meeting."
Oh, okay.
So that is when I found out for sure that he was coming on, and he wanted to. I don't know. I was going to say face the music, but it's not like anything went wrong. Like he wanted to talk about. There were some complaints about parking, and there were a lot that went well, and he just wants to make sure that you guys all know that he is listening. And I've not known him yet to not do that, to not listen. I don't think he has his mind made up about everything so much that he's not even going to at least listen.
And why would you? He hasn't been here a year. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's going to take time to really figure all that stuff out. Yeah. So.
All right, let's get back to football. Some of the questions asked of Jason Eck today as they relate to the Idaho State game, but also moving forward. One thing we were kind of talking about as Fern first got on, and I was trying to figure out how to get him actually on, was the 2-to-1 run to pass thing. I know you kind of touched on that
40
a little bit.
20, yeah.
Yeah, 40 rushes, 21 passes. And I think the interesting thing about that was that Jack Lane's protection in week one, he got beat up like crazy against Michigan. A lot of that had to do with Michigan, obviously. In week two, they only threw, 1/3 of the time. And I was just kind of curious how much that had to do with Jack Lane and his health. For what it's worth, Jason X said Jack is just fine right now. He didn't seem to get hit much at all on Saturday.
I never really, and he mentioned one of the sacks that he did take. I mean, it wasn't like he got sacked and he got bowled over. He literally kind of like just went to a knee more or less with a guy on him.
His running actually was he probably caused more self damage than Idaho State caused damage to him.
Yeah, and that's probably a question we should have asked in terms of him in the run game and a little bit of that. Just kind of getting into it. I totally understand the touchdown and kind of the north end zone and all that as well. Just get it in. But there was another one that he kind of put his shoulder into. But no, I never really, and it's part of it's because I'm at practice and
Yeah.
doing all that. I never thought it was hey, Jack's really banged up. We're going to run it more this week. And that was something that, of course, Ak mentioned, and something that you could go look up and go organically find yourself. Like, that was not a good run defense. Idaho State, it struggled against UNLV. They had struggled against Southern Utah. That was what Southern Utah did. They just kind of ran straight through them, and that ended up being a big win for them. But no, he said it was more of a, hey, if offense is what the defense is giving you, they felt they could do that a bit more. Was it as smooth as we probably thought it was going to be? No, but they certainly had their moments in the run game.
Weapons in the passing game, something you kind of asked a little bit about.
Yeah.
What did you take from his answer? What was his answer? And what do you think about this passing game? Does it have downfield threats?
I think it does. But it's kind of a question of if it's going to get figured out in time. Like I it probably should have followed up with it. I don't know for sure if you can. Yeah, I don't know if it's it's you hit 6 games and it's not really there, and then you kind of keep building it in the back half of the schedule, or if it's no, you hit 6 games and kind of is what it is. You just kind of have to manufacture it. Again, I mentioned this earlier too. He said they don't want to force it. They don't want it to be like over the top in the sense of, you got to get it downfield and all that too. And I agree with that. I think that's important. Like, the offense is the offense. I do think there are downfield threats. I think you've seen flashes of it from Keegan Johnson. Ziel Smith. Michael Buckley is the only guy with the 2 catches he had in the Michigan game. He's the only guy that's actually generated explosive passing plays, so 20 yards or more.
Explosives are 10 and 15 according to stat broadcast, but most teams usually consider that passing play a 20. I think
20 is for passing, and then
is it 15 for run?
I usually, for stat broadcast, I usually just treat it as a 20 for running too.
Okay.
That's the way I kind of think of it there.
Anyway, the stat system isn't the one that dictates necessarily what a team thinks. So
yeah, and I know Jason, he treats it the same way. It's 20 for both.
Okay.
That's the way they look at that.
Aztec to Tacoma, as we're talking past game, I did pull this up. Any idea on the recruiting front as far as wide receivers going? I mean, 2 games into the season,
I don't know. And I, honestly, I'm checked out of recruiting right now. Yeah. It's there will be some visits and stuff coming up for some other home games. This last weekend was not like a massive official visit weekend or anything like that.
Not for football.
Not for football. For basketball.
It was a good one for basketball.
Aztec Tacoma, it's a good question. I don't have a lot of info on it right now. Frankly, I am relatively checked out of recruiting at this moment, and that's kind of the way it goes.
I will revisit a post I put up earlier. This was in reference to rectifying the technical difficulties that I was having. But we
had technical difficulties.
This kind of also applies to maybe Sean being checked out of the recruiting too. Maybe if Sean would eat a blueberry and or a grape, this may be rectified.
Yeah, maybe.
Sources say.
I mean, probably not. I don't think me eating a grape would make you better at working the PodTrack P4 Zoom.
That's right.
So, I mean, but we're open to all avenues at this point.
We have all commenters providing their feedback and asking their questions.
We have been on
Reider.
We have been on a run. Hi, Mom. We have been on a run of some tough technical difficulties lately. So maybe I do need to suck it up and eat that grape. If it does,
good Lord, I finally figure out the microphone situation, and then we get this microphone situation.
And then we get the video situation. This is good stuff, though. We're in the weeds.
I used to be a web editor. Before I came to the Journal, I was the web editor in Santa Fe. It's not like I'm technologically...
You were driving into work, listening to X Gonna Get You. And
X Gonna Get You.
Get you. Oh, my gosh.
So some of the other stuff that came up today. Jason X, final game as a player.
Yes.
He actually, I just found out, did not actually get in the game.
He did not get in the game. He's a walk-on center.
His final game as a player was in the Rose Bowl.
Yes, it was Wisconsin against UCLA in the Rose Bowl. Of course, Jason Eck played at Wisconsin.
The following year, as a graduate assistant, they played in the Rose Bowl.
Yes, Wisconsin and was that Washington? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Let's look up the 2000 Rose Bowl.
And then the very following year, so for 3 consecutive years,
Stanford.
As a grad assistant at Colorado, he also, a regular season game, played in the Rose Bowl or coached in the Rose Bowl. So for 3 consecutive years, he was in the Rose Bowl. So how big a deal is it to Jason Eck that they will be playing in the Rose Bowl this week? Sean asked, and the answer was?
Yeah, not really a big deal. I asked if it was a little bit of a more sentimental kind of thing, the element of, that's your last game as a player. He mentioned, he was a GA at Wisconsin in his first year there. They go up to, they go to the Rose Bowl, beat Stanford. And he's like, this coaching thing's pretty easy. First year coaching, we win the freaking Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Like, there you go. And obviously it is not that easy. Yeah, he said it wasn't really all that sentimental. But I do think it's interesting. It's the element. I kind of think the fact that he went there for a regular season game at Colorado has kind of colored a little bit of that. And so I think it's also the fact that he's a head coach. You don't want to make like a big deal out of anything at certain points. But like going to the Rose Bowl is cool. Like objectively, it's a cool venue and all that. This is not going to be a Rose Bowl New Year's Day atmosphere on Friday night. This might actually be one of the least attended UCLA football games in a long time. And it's not going to be kind of that regular bowl game atmosphere. So it doesn't seem like they're making a whole lot about that. They are going to do the thing where they go in before the game on
Game day, though, not the day before.
Yeah, they're going to go in on Friday and kind of, take out the awe factor and all that, but it's not quite like Michigan where you got to think about, the noise and all that.
So he said he was going in Friday early. Did he just mean they'll go there a little earlier than normal, or like they're going to go do like a morning kind of or midday walk?
I would have to go back and honestly just
check
that.
I'm just realizing now. I don't know for sure what he meant by we're going to go earlier on Friday.
I would feel like I wouldn't be paraphrasing him correctly if I didn't go back and listen to what he said. But no,
accuracy.
Who cares? No, yeah, it's a cool venue. It's a historic venue, and he wants everybody to kind of recognize that while also noting it's not the same as going to Kyle Field or the Big House. Like, you're not going to have 100K fans screaming on you. It's going to be a big communication issue. So, yeah. But he did say, on the element of kind of playing on Friday and all that, he said that is an opportunity for recognition there, because he said the way he thinks about it is that all the football teams on the road, those guys are hanging out in hotels, players and coaches, and they're just watching football on TV. He's like, we'll be playing that game. We're going to do that.
Yeah, he said a lot of Mountain West coaches and teams will be watching. Just a lot of eyeballs on the Lobos this Friday night because that Friday night game does get eyeballs.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of a team that plays on Friday as well,
Desert Lobo 72 is asking, even though this is UNM focused discussion, can you provide an update on the NMSU AD search? I can tell you right now that I have no update whatsoever. Once it gets in the hands of a search firm, I certainly can't crack the Daniel Parker search firms of the world. What did I say?
You said no, it's Parker.
Oh, Parker.
Like, oh, darn Parker.
Yeah, no, Daniel Parker
Associates.
Yeah, I wish I did. I don't have any update on the AD search. I apologize for that. Back to the Rose Bowl part of this, I'm going to say this. UCLA is a team that is very beatable. But UCLA is a team that has enough talent to have won some games already. They could have beat UNLV. They could have come back and beat them.
And there was a point on Saturday where I was watching that game, and I kind of felt that they were going to do that. I felt that they kind of had it, and they had it going in that direction. It's not, like Stanford. Stanford might be 1-11, 0-12. Like, they're pretty.
After they lost that Hawaii game, I mean.
They are pretty miserable. And that's a mix of they just don't have a lot of talent. This UCLA, like you said, this UCLA team, and I think I mentioned it earlier, like they have talent. I mean, they spent money on this roster and all that. It's just not very clean whatsoever. Desert Lobo had another comment as well about UCLA. I forget exactly what the context was. Is UCLA still prohibiting the media from their practices? And I'll be clear, like, most college football programs don't really let you watch practice in full and stuff like that. Like, we have a unique arrangement and all that as well. I know they have a little practice window, a 30-minute window. I don't think it's as bad as it was during fall camp. That's kind of the vibe I get. But this is kind of a bad look for UCLA in the sense that you restrict all this access in the preseason, all this access during fall camp. And you say, hey, winning is what's going to provide the marketing for the program. And you're 0-2, and I still kind of think this is a UCLA win. Like, I don't think it's a UCLA cover. I still think it's a UCLA win. But you could be looking at 0-3 after doing all that. And
Eck did feel the question too. I mean, UCLA is kind of maybe a little dangerous right now because they're the embarrassed,
They're
wounded.
desperate. They're
They're
desperate.
the desperate team. They're a little bit like the wounded dog right now. I mean, they're taking shots. Nobody's going into this game sitting there thinking like, oh, okay, how much is UCLA going to win by? They're like, okay, is UCLA going to figure this out, or are they going to get upset? I mean,
Yeah.
That wasn't the tone going into the Michigan game. The national audience certainly wasn't sitting there wondering, can Michigan get upset? That wasn't what was going on here. This week, that is kind of going on a little bit. Is UCLA in so much trouble that UNM might be able to go in and upset them?
Exactly.
Is at least the question on some people's mind. UCLA knows that, and UCLA, especially with a large media market like LA, even though LA has so much else sometimes going on other than covering UCLA Bruins football, I will say that, like, yeah, they know they've got a little bit of media pressure on them right now, and just outside scrutiny going on that they want to make a statement.
No, yeah. You need to win this game. This is, that was a really good Utah team, man. I mean, I think that is a Utah team that to me right now is the front runner in the Big 12. I really like what they're doing. Although Baylor kind of.
No, come on.
I'm kind of talking myself into Baylor a little bit. That Sawyer Robinson, like, pretty good.
Stop.
UNLV, ultra talented, probably at a talent level, maybe not at a resource level, but a talent level. Comparable, frankly, to UCLA more so than other Mountain West teams. And this is not me denigrating UNM. This is not me denigrating New Mexico. It is just in most years, UCLA should be beating New Mexico and all that, just because of the disparity in resources and recruiting and all that too, and the money that you can spend on recruiting and all that as well. And I think a lot of people around here would admit that. So yeah, that would be a sign that something is pretty seriously broken with UCLA, and it would be a sign that something is seriously going well with UNM. And I'll put it to you this way: I'll ask you this: if UNM wins this game, have they kind of like made it to a certain point? Do you think they have kind of like made it?
So this a win for UNM proves a whole lot more than even a loss for UCLA proves. Like UCLA is already kind of in this what the heck's going on with UCLA mode.
Exactly.
Another loss would just sort of re-emphasize that, but it wouldn't like people are already asking like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Nobody's lost their job at UCLA. If you lose in Mexico, I think somebody's probably gonna lose their job.
Yeah, it could start.
Yeah, that is how you kickstart the process. Even though, in all likelihood, if this thing keeps playing out and they go 4-8 or whatever, even while beating New Mexico, somebody's gonna lose their job anyways, right?
If UNM pulls this off, however, though, man, talk about early momentum.
Oh my gosh,
for a program and a rebuild. Like this is what's already kind of going on, right? The Michigan game started it. The Idaho State win, continued it to a point. It certainly didn't lose the momentum, which is
didn't lose momentum, and that's something we agreed about on Saturday. And and here's the thing I kind of think about too, and we all know how last season ended, right? Like we all saw what happened at Hawaii and all that too. That's one thing that it's not that you feel bad, but it's like that Washington State win. That was like that was a big deal for the program, but it was the second last game and all that too, and like it kept the bowl hopes alive and all that. And then of course they did not qualify for a bowl game. They finished with 5 wins because they couldn't stop Mike Alejado. This would be even though they're UCLA is not ranked, even though they could fall to 0-3 by losing to Mexico, it does feel like this could be a far bigger deal than that in the sense that it's early and all of a sudden you're 2-1. You're going to play your rival. Like there you go. Like that's a big deal.
If you're playing New Mexico State after beating UCLA, that's a big deal in these parts.
If I would still lean La Tech. If NMSU can figure something out in Ruston too, that'd be pretty crazy.
No, I would lean La Tech too.
I'm leaning La Tech.
Yeah. I mean, I would lean La Tech, but it's not. Okay,
and that's not a they're playing on the road kind of thing. It's just like, I think La Tech gave LSU a couple problems the other night too.
Who has a better chance at winning? New Mexico State on the road or UNM on the road? I would say New Mexico State.
I would say New Mexico State because it is the same conference, right? Same level of spending to a certain degree and all that as well. And I think at NMSU, from what I saw, there was some good progress from week 1 to week 2. It wasn't a huge leap in the sense of you make the biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2, but I thought there was some good stuff.
The fact though that there's even at least a hint of let me think about that is pretty interesting. We're talking La Tech and UCLA.
Yeah, right.
And UCLA is struggling, man. But yeah, I caution Lobo fans from getting a little too ahead of themselves here. UCLA still has UCLA level funding for players that have a talent level that if they click, like they're still a pretty good team.
Yeah. What would
talent-wise.
to you in particular? What does success look like for UNM on Friday
So
night? In your
obviously a
opinion,
win, any
outside
kind
of
of
a win, obviously.
I mean, look, the
And
magic numbers
what
are
does a
covered.
failure look like?
Yeah, a failure would be a good, 3 touch. I mean, certainly UCLA covering, but like not moving the ball. A third straight week of the offense not quite showing good balance. I guess maybe that would be it.
Not effective balance, and
Yeah,
not
effective
like
balance. Would be good.
effective
Yeah,
balance.
That's a good term. I would also say though that the defense has to. Like the defense looked better against Michigan in my mind in some ways than it did against Idaho State in some ways.
And I think the defense had a pretty solid day overall. Like we were kind of there was no sacks, but they put up 14 pressures on a team that is hard to get pressure on because of how quickly they get the ball out. And I thought that I thought Keyshawn had a pretty good game. I thought Jackson Eck had a pretty good game. I still got to see a little bit more from the secondary, honestly. But I always feel like I'm always lagging behind on secondaries in particular because it's just not it's not really a strength of mine about it in that.
We got a question here that I'm trying to look up an answer for.
Yeah.
Why don't you go through that question while I pull this up?
Desert Lobo 72, how did Saturday's attendance rank among other Mountain West and G5 games on this young season? I know we had more than Utah State's home opener. I can't find a good online database with this info. This isn't fun info to always find, frankly. Utah State, I know that's been a little bit of a thing with the fan base there.
Yeah.
In the element of they also closed down spring practice. They also closed down fall camp. They
did that here too.
They did that here, but they're doing it at a more extreme level, frankly.
And to be clear, they meaning Bronco.
Yeah, Bronco men and all, that staff and that group. I mean, they're doing it at a more extreme level. We didn't have great access, but we had some access, and I know a lot of guys out there have just really had no access and all that.
All right, so I'm going to read to you Desert Lobo 72, the average home attendance for Mountain West teams so far. How about just sticking with Mountain West? One game, Colorado State averaged, these will all be averages for the one gamers, had an announced attendance of 37,023. Fresno State's home game, one home game so far, 36,801.
Good for Fresno.
Yeah, those are two really good ones. Obviously, I mean, just clearly those two are really good crowds. Boise State would be third in the Mountain West with their one game so far, and that was at 32,887. And then we jump down to two more games right at the 30,000 mark, and that would be UNLV's two home games. So UNLV's had two home games, and they're averaging 30,920, and Air Force's one home game so far is 30,207. Then you take a little bit of a drop. Wyoming has had one game at 25,009. Then another drop down to San Diego State, which is just in year 3 of their stadium or year 2?
I think it's year 3.
Year 3 of their stadium.
I think it's year 3.
They're down at 20,600. Nevada's at 20,500. Another drop down to New Mexico, which ranks 108th in the country. At 17,639. Below them is Utah State. Below them is San Jose State. Below them is Hawaii. So every Division I, or I apologize, every FBS program in the country that has had a game, well, there's 127 so far that have had games. And there you go. The average home attendance for UNM, there are 3 Mountain West schools that are averaging lower home attendance than what UNM got Saturday at 17,600. There you go.
I'm a little surprised. Well, they did play Eastern Washington, FCS team. I'm a little surprised that Boise wasn't a tick higher, but I think their capacity is only it's 35, 36. It wouldn't be that much higher for a sellout. But
yeah, for in-state context too, New Mexico State's had 2 home games that they're averaging 10,149. Just down the road from them. Let's check UTEP real quick. UTEP is at 31,000 is what they got for their one home game.
Good for UTEP.
The Sun Bowl. So yeah,
I don't know a lot about. Been a one UTEP game, and it was but it was a midweek game, so you don't really feel like you got a good gauge on attendance because those games are always relatively sparsely.
Yeah, they're not going to get 31,000 much of the year, but good for them for getting it for one game.
Exactly. It was UT Martin, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big UT Martin.
Big UT Martin.
So there you go. There's the attendance breakdown is look, if they get to 20,000, well, first of all, the New Mexico State game will be in the 20s.
It will be, yeah. They will get to it. I think
If
it was 29.
Yeah, if
2
they
years
happen
ago.
to average out at around 20 the rest of the year after New Mexico State, that would be a huge win in my
That
mind.
is a massive success. I know they've thrown out 25K. I know
Yeah.
Jason Eck has thrown that out a couple times. I think just being in the 20s, averaging that would be a resounding step forward for the program, and that affect, like, truly, like, you're doing good things on the field and you're doing good things off of
So
it.
they got
Assign both.
six home games this year.
Yep.
That after New Mexico State being the second one, they would have 4 more. To average 20,000 over the final 4 games, they would have to be in bowl contention.
Yes.
Like, fans are going to have to feel like, oh,
And you're gonna
figuring it out here.
We're going to see. I am curious if there will be an actual Bronco effect for the Utah State game on that attendance. I don't really think there will be.
I don't either.
I don't really buy it. I think
I think the
that's-
fans that care about the Bronco effect are the fans that are going to be here anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No. And then what? Nevada, San Diego State, Colorado State.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. Okay. So there's the other ones. San Diego State. That's a Black Friday game last week of the season finale. I guess maybe if they were vying for a bowl at that point.
Yeah.
But I would have a hard time seeing that one being in the 20s.
Yeah.
But maybe I just saw, I don't know, the last time they did a Black Friday game here, that was a struggle attendance wise. Not a lot of people in the stands, but we'll see.
All right. As far as UCLA's quarterback, what do you want to say about kind of what was discussed today with the quarterback for UCLA, having played in CFP last year for Tennessee? What did Jason say today? What do you think about the quarterback?
No, he said he actually he said in the past he saw him like work as a recruit at a showcase, and he's like, God, this guy's like big, and he kind of compared him a little bit to Bryce Underwood, obviously the Michigan quarterback. He said he's a little skinnier probably than Bryce. But the arm talent is there. The running talent is there. Like, the guy, like, clearly he is kind of as advertised to a certain degree. And again, I just touched on it earlier in the show. Like, I don't think Nico's getting a lot of guff, obviously, because of the whole transfer thing and all that too this summer. I don't think Nico has been the problem with this offense. The defense has maybe not quite been the saving grace, but he just doesn't have a whole lot to work with at this point. So it's clear they're respecting him, and they're going to have to be, dedicated to having answers to him, answers for him in the quarterback run game. They're going to have to figure that out, and also have answers for him when he takes a shot downfield.
I did get a question asked earlier today if Donovan Dent will be making an appearance at the UCLA game on Friday. I imagine he will, frankly, but I'll reach out and find out. I'll try and find out.
That'd be pretty cool. Pretty cool, man.
Donovan Dent played here last year. I don't know if you know that. Basketball.
Really?
Mhm.
Really?
Yeah, a little basketball.
I saw him walking into Dick's, the one like at Coronado Center or whatever, over the summer.
Yeah.
Didn't say hi. I mean, we've never talked, but it was pretty cool.
He didn't say hi, or you didn't say hi?
And neither of us said hi.
Wow,
It's crazy.
you big time Donovan Dent.
Hi, big time Donovan Dent.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's the choice.
got a pretty good layup package too.
All right. Thank you guys for putting up with the us.
The show that never really got going.
I will figure out. I'll be troubleshooting this little receiver here and why these headsets work without guests coming in until you turn them off. Blah blah blah. So UCLA Friday night. The game time is 8:10.
8:10
Mountain time.
8:10 Mountain.
8:10 Mountain. We will have a post-game show. It'll be a late one, obviously, but we will have a post-game show here on the interwebs. And I will say this, too. The pre-Jason Eck press conference story from Frank Mercogliano is this. This is not the first time that
New
the
Mexico's
UNM
played at the
Lobos
Rose
have
Bowl.
played in the Rose Bowl.
So they played UCLA once before. That was the 2002 Las Vegas Bowl.
Correct.
Katie Hanida, obviously,
Yep.
famous debut.
Yep, I don't know what Katie's up to. I mean, Katie Nida is the one. Yeah, she had the PAT try in that Las Vegas Bowl, missed it. The following year in a regular season game, she made PAT. So first appearance was in the Las Vegas Bowl, if I'm not mistaken, and then the following year regular season game was the first point scored. Because I know she has talked about how that ate at her for missing the PAT when she finally got in. Regardless, it was not the first time. This will not be the first time the Lobos have played in the Rose Bowl. That would be 1920.
1926.
1926, if we're looking for
1929.
1929, we're all over the map here. But 1929, when the Lobos were the first team, according to Frank Mercogliano, the first college football team to fly to a game.
Yes, because most teams just did trains back in the day, even all the way from, I think the That's how Alabama got like the Crimson Tide nickname or whatever when they took that trip out to the Rose Bowl.
Interesting.
There was a guy on the train like, it looks like a Crimson Tide is coming in. And there you go.
There you go.
I think I might have misremembered that story, but yeah, they played Occidental College in the Rose Bowl
and lost
26-0. And Jason Eck, before he heard that story and he came into the press conference, he said, I don't want to get any guff for losing for winning by 10 against Idaho State.
We only beat an FCS Idaho State team by only 10 points. I don't want to get any grief for any guff for that when you just told the story about UNM losing to Occidental College in 1929.
It was a night game.
That's a bad loss.
It was a night game, that Rose Bowl too, and 29 was the first year they had lights in the Rose Bowl as well. So it was
apparently not enough of them, because
not enough for UNM.
As Frank put it, the Lobos fumbled a lot because they couldn't see the ball.
I don't know. There is one more question I think we could probably wrap up on, kind of get this in here. Do you guys think beating UCLA on Friday would be a better win than it would have been against Michigan? Ice asked, just due to the timing of the game and scheduled for UNM going into week 3, etc. I see what you're saying. I think Michigan would have been a way better win by most. I think it would have given them so much juice. I think you probably could have even expected, honestly, if they beat Michigan, 20K plus.
Yeah.
I think it would have been.
Fans.
Say it again.
Another 3,000.
I think if you're beating Michigan on the road at the Big House in primetime, you can expect. You can expect that.
So I mean, the easy answer is Michigan.
Because Michigan, Michigan lost to Oklahoma. Right?
But look what we're talking about. The scenario would be then Michigan win, assume Idaho State win, and then go lose to UCLA, then the momentum's dead. Yeah,
but it's still, you still got that Michigan win. You still got that. And
I think Michigan's the right answer.
Michigan, I think, because that's the biggest win in program history. Even if Michigan is kind of like a 7-win, 8-win, 9-win, all those are good records, frankly. But are you looking that up right now? I'm assuming you're looking that up.
This last one?
Yeah. But no, Ice, that's a good question, and that's a good way to think about it too. With the idea, just the timing.
Yeah, the timing of it would kind of ruined the Michigan win, but I don't think you then lessen what the Michigan win would have been.
Exactly, and it's always weird, right? Because UNM last year, I mean, we touched on the Washington State game and all that too, but it felt like that Wyoming loss came at a point where it's all right. You're just kind of now getting back to it. You had the 3-game win streak, and then kind of cut off some enthusiasm there. So it is important to maintain momentum and in accordance to the schedule.
Mikey is asking, is this also a bye game for UNM going to UCLA? It is.
Grammar, do you have the figures?
Yes, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, the varsity football teams representing the respective parties here too will play each other in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California on September 13th, 2025, with UCLA being the host party for the game played in Pasadena. And the host party will pay a sum of $1,200,000 for playing said game to visiting party New Mexico.
And that was $1.8 million for Michigan too?
Yeah, $1.8 million for Michigan, which was paid in basically $800,000 of it was paid in previous fiscal years.
Yeah.
The Lobos this year are getting this full $1.2 million, if I'm not mistaken. I don't see anything on this contract that would state otherwise. So what you're looking at for the 2 bye games for UNM Athletics is $2.2 million coming in this fiscal year for having played 2 bye football games. Most of that will go to football, but not all of it. I do think most of that will probably stick with football, because that is the cash cow kind of potential of this program. Still, we don't need to get into that whole topic again, but they need to get football right, and when they get football right, everything else kind of follows suit. I don't think you ever do that at the expense of the current cash cow of across the street and Lobo basketball and all that good stuff. But Lobo football can expect profits to kind of be coming their way.
Yeah, so. And you mentioned getting right, and this is I still think it's more unlikely than not, although not quite to the level of the Michigan game or the Texas A&M game 2 years ago, or the Arizona game or the Auburn game. This is probably the least daunting bye game I've seen in my time here, but this is a real, genuine opportunity to show that, hey, football is in a great opportunity, is in a good spot, and maybe going to a great spot on Friday. And it's kind of this win would, I think, just by having Eck, who's kind of a known commodity nationally, kind of a known guy, a guy that people like. He's mentioned on podcasts, all that as well too. This would put a big spotlight on New Mexico too.
I'll say this too in terms of stuff you guys don't really care about in the slightest. My opinion of the response to this game, meaning how did Eck respond to the fourth quarter? How did Eck respond to some struggles against an FCS school? How did Eck respond to us asking questions and questioning, like, hey, this didn't really work out. What's up with that kind of stuff? I will say this, Eck hasn't surprised me in a negative way with how he's answered any of that kind of stuff.
No, yeah.
He hasn't got defensive because he gets asked, questions about his offense. He hasn't got defensive because, hey, was the offense a little boring against Idaho State? No, he answers. Yeah. So I think that's a good sign because, like, who the heck are we to question a football coach is sort of the mentality a lot of coaches have sometimes, and he just doesn't seem to be.
And sometimes, guy. Who the heck are we? Because I screwed up the question today.
What did you do?
The Silliman one.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I screwed that up. I mean, so that happens, right?
It is interesting to ask why a guy didn't play when he did in fact play.
I know, not a lot of. He wasn't rotating in the way. Yeah, for context, if you don't watch the, put this comment up. Watch out with the question. X gonna get ya. I got. No, Isaiah Silliman. And I'm embarrassed. I didn't even really catch this. Back when I was watching the broadcast copy back. I was under the assumption that he did not play on Saturday because he wasn't rotating in his normal positions and all that. He was actually in, and he played center for a couple snaps, and that's my bad. But
the only reason he got in was
because Cater Robnett lost his shoe.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't a rotational kind of.
No, and that was, and I probably should have paid a little bit more attention. I probably should have also asked a little bit more about the rotation of the offensive line. Although I feel like I'm hammering those questions every week, and I probably need to figure out a new angle. But
probably should ask more about third down songs too.
Third down. Well, he did. Hey, he did talk today. One thing that I do kind of like about the ACT press conferences is the fact that he will, far more than Bronco, and I think a little bit more than Danny too, he will bring up more things that he's kind of focusing on. And he did mention, I asked about, oh my gosh, I don't remember what it was that, I think it was about a 2-minute drill and kind of needing to clean up halftime.
Yeah.
Kind of getting into halftime. And he said, look, it's a short week. You have to cut some stuff in a short week. We're probably going to do less 2-minute drill.
Yeah, remember, they lose 1 day of practice.
So they're probably going to do less, and also kind of to touch on the short week stuff too, like they're really going to do like one kind of lighter day of pads, and that's today. But beyond that, they're really not, they're not going full hog or anything like that. They're just trying to.
Today's their big work day as well.
Today is their big work day, and today is their padded day. They were not in pads yesterday, which is not surprising. But he said, we're going to have to cut some 2-minute stuff this week and all that. But we really, we want to be locked in on third down defense. He's like, we've been giving up. He's like, those situations where we were not gaining at the half, right? Like those are because we were giving up big third downs. The 3rd and 14 against Michigan. I forget exactly the D&D on the Idaho State game going into the half there that they gave up. But no, it's clear they want to be locked in on third down defense because I think they're getting a little frustrated with the level of this is a defense built to set up the 3rd and long and hold in the 3rd and long. And I think they're frustrated that they're giving up more 3rd and longs than they probably like.
Third down conversion defense ranking right now is, let's see, Mexico 76 for New Mexico State, 119 for New Mexico. So they have given up 14 first downs out of 28. I mean, on third, they've faced third. Let's try this again. They have faced 28 third downs. The Lobo defense has, and they've given up 14 first downs. A 50% conversion rate on third down is horrible.
So what was the percentage that New Mexico was at this year?
They're at 50% right now.
They're at 15%?
50.
Do you know what they finished at last year?
50. I think it was right around 50, right?
It was 50 on the money.
Yeah.
133 out of 134. The only team that was worse was Nevada.
Okay. So there you go. I mean, 50% is a horrible third down conversion rate for a defense.
Yeah.
And they got to improve it. They better get better.
They got to get better there, right? Who is the?
By the way, follow us all season long for hot takes like that. Just smash that follow button.
Yeah, it is. I always kind of laugh. You know who has the second worst in the country right now? Opponent third down conversion rate.
Yeah, UCLA.
UCLA. Shout out to the University of Alabama, Birmingham. Go Blazers. They are the only team worse So UCLA is certainly lagging in some statistical categories as
19
well.
first downs out of 27 third downs that they have faced. And there you go. UCLA and UNM both are working on getting off the field on third down.
They're sandwiched between UCLA is sandwiched between kind of the zombie Trent Dilfer UAB experiment that just needs to end as soon as possible, and then a bad Eastern Michigan game.
First time Michigan came up, I think. No, because we've been talking Michigan a little bit. But
talking Michigan, right?
Yeah, that was a pull though. You had to work for that Michigan reference there with Eastern Michigan.
Come on. I don't know about that. We respect Eastern Michigan, man.
Louisiana Tech, for you Aggie fans listening in, they rank 124th on third down conversions, so their defense has not been stopping teams on third down either. So there you go. New Mexico State, try and move the ball.
Do you know who shockingly is in the top 10 of opponent third down conversion rates in the Mountain West?
Yeah, I mean, I have the list up on my screen so I can.
Tied for 7th with Oklahoma, who, if you watch the Michigan-Oklahoma game, you would say that's a very good defense. That's good stuff. Surprisingly, San Jose State.
Look at the team 2 above them, Oregon State. There are two 0-2 teams. They're the only 2 0-2 teams in the top. It looks like 20. Geez, you have to go all the way down to.
Let's see.
Man,
you really got it. Well,
UCF
won. They played that bye game.
But 61st is the next 0-2 team, and there happen to be 2 0-2 teams in the top 10 in third down conversion defense, and it's San Jose State and Oregon State. That's just weird. But it also kind of speaks to, hey, look, it's early in the season. Let's not go overboard on small sample size stats right now.
Yeah, it does speak to that. Still, that's pretty crazy.
All right,
not gonna lie.
I'm going to update you guys real quick on some betting lines. Again, let's start with the Aggies at Louisiana Tech. That is a 10-point spread right now. La Tech favored by 10 at home in Ruston. And the updated line per VegasInsider.com, which shows multiple betting sites. I do see one as high as 16.5. UCLA favored by 16.5, but most of them appear to be 15.5 right now.
Do you think that's fair?
Yeah. I mean, 2 touchdowns, a little more than 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, UCLA better never host a team in UNM's position right now and be anything less than the 2 touchdown favorite.
Yeah, and I think that's and I get why the line is going up too. The spread is going up, I should say, as well. I do see the vision there. I'll be curious to monitor that a little bit more throughout the week.
I do think the over-under's a little low, but why wouldn't it be? Because I haven't seen a ton. I wouldn't see a dynamic offense in either of these 2 teams so far. So 53.5, it's not like a super small over-under. In the NFL, that would be a high one, but in college football, you're seeing so many games in the 60s now and upper 50s. But anyway, 53.5 over-under is probably might be high based on how these 2 offenses have played so far.
Not to drag it out because we're well over the hour time limit at this point, but what would the ideal statistical offensive performance look like out of UNM on Friday for you?
3 touchdowns.
Take out the points. Take out the points.
Yeah, but I mean, so I think you got to move the ball.
Yeah.
Scoring drive wise, you got to have at least 4 drives. 4 successful drives.
Yeah.
And a successful drive is scoring or something kind of fluky ending the drive. Maybe it's a turnover. I mean, obviously that's not something you're hoping for, but I want to see them move the ball successfully at least 4 times. I think once a quarter is probably not too much to ask. You're probably getting 8 drives a game, right? A good 8, 9. I don't know how many full drives you have, but 1 out of every 2 drives you should make some move. Like it can't be 3 and out. It can't be 4 and 5, and out, just like 15-yard gains and then punting. I think you got to move the ball probably 4 times or so. But I also think that you got to show a little bit of balance. I just don't think one of the 2 can be shut down. I don't think you can say, all right, well, we shut down the passing game. If you're UCLA, you can't say we shut down the passing game and they ran on us, but they couldn't pass. Or the other way around. Yeah, they passed on us, but we didn't let them run. I think the Lobos have got to show some balance. And maybe you could say they did against Idaho State because the final stats would suggest maybe they did a little bit. Yeah. But I wouldn't say that was balanced.
I think it was a little bit more balanced than you're giving it credit for, even though the 40-20, that kind of thing. Like it's not that. But yeah, I think you obvious take, explosive plays are good for your offense and all that. I think they do need to start connecting some. They really need to figure that out.
Big pass play would be nice for them.
Yeah, that would be and does it always matter how you get them? Whatever, like we can talk about that, right? Because like you do have the backs that can catch the ball. Demond Bankston, probably the best pass catching back at this point. Dorian Thomas, we've seen what he does when he's got the ball in his hands, and good, pretty solid, pretty tough yak guy. Although the numbers aren't insane.
I wouldn't say anything special teams related is necessary in my mind. Like,
it wouldn't hurt. I mean,
sure, you'll take a good play, but I don't need to see it necessarily. I would like to see the defense almost go back to the Michigan defense, which was a little more bend but don't break. Like, kind of, Michigan was moving the ball a little bit, but the first, they'd get 6 yards on first down. It'd be 2nd and 4. Well, then stop them on 2nd down, and the next thing you know, you're at 3rd. And they just need to get into 3rd and short, and like you need to get into some of those thirds. But there we go. We just talked about the 3rd down stat. I'll say this: they have to improve on getting off the field on 3rd down.
They got to get off the field on 3rd down.
So that's what I would want to see defensively, and offensively, I'd like to see moving the ball on multiple drives, not just like one good drive a half. I'd like to see some balance. So there you go. Sean, have fun at the Rose Bowl.
I will, man.
You're going Thursday?
Thursday, yeah.
All right. Guys, I appreciate it. We will have a post-game show. It'll be a late one. I'm going to get all the IT stuff taken care of. I mean, got the mic stuff fixed, got video stuff fixed. Now we just have to figure out how to get guests back on, like which I used to do. Who knows? So anyway, guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks,
Sean?
everybody, for coming in and giving us your comments, watching, helping us through our IT issues. Thank you for producing our show for us effectively. And, looking forward to this week. Let's get out there, man.
Till Friday night. See you guys. Thank you, guys.